Hello, hello, hello. It is your baby boomer Kitty Lane from the Peninsula in Virginia. One second. Oh, I pray that's better. Okay. How is everyone today? Please forgive me for being late. Um, Life has happened. Let me start straight off the bat and let you know that I don't really feel that well today, but I'm here and it's so fitting. I'm sorry about that. Breakfast wanted to stick around. Once again, I am your baby boomer Kitty Lane from the Peninsula in Virginia, and I'd like to welcome you into the den. How are we? I want to thank you for being here. Good morning, sweetheart. I love you so much, Enableister. I really do. I don't feel great today, but I'm here. Um, if you have not left thummies, please do. If you're catching it on replay, please leave your thummies. If you've not subscribed, please consider doing so when you see that notification bell. Please hit the one with the dimples so you always know when I'm dropping fresh new content. So, what are we sipping on today? Michelle, don't answer me. Do not answer me. I have my trusty, great value French roast. Had to think about it a second with my pinch of salt and a drip of vanilla, thanks to my Michelle. I also have caramel macchiato creamer. That is what I'm sipping on. As far as whips, they are pretty much the same, with the exception of one beautiful item that arrived day before yesterday. And I have been working on that and just about finished and ready to send it on to the next person. I know that you all have heard me talk about the Twister hood or the traveling blanket. I finally got it. I did. And I'm just about completed with my part. Um, I'm not really showing it right now because I am going to do a video uh, that tells you, as Wani says, all the things. So, speaking of Juan, it leaves me and it goes to Juan. Yes, 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 yes. So, I'm super excited about that as well. Um, I am also, being that I have received so many stitch markers, the little thingamajiggy that I made. Kiara! Oh, I am so happy to see you. How are you, my love? Oh, bless your heart, bless your heart. I'm so glad to see you here. This little thingamaboopsie here, I think I have to duplicate it because I want to remember the pattern that I used to create this. So I'm going to use this as a stitch marker hanger, which is appropriate that I didn't sew in my tail because I'm going to kind of weave it in like so that I have something to hang it on. And I'm going to hang my handmade stitch markers up here. See, there's a reason we do what we do. We may not understand it why we do it. Baby, I understand. Today is a struggle for me as well. It really is. But I'm pushing through and definitely pushing through. My other whips are pretty much the same. I have not started anything new. I do, however, have one finished object, and that is another washcloth. We're going to call it finished, even though I do have a tail to weave in. But yes, I And in case y'all didn't know, I make them so that they cover our hands. Even my daughter with her long fingers. You can see there's plenty at the bottom of my hand here. So even my daughter with her extra long fingers can cover her hand with this. And all I do is 40 stitches across. You see that one is a tad smaller than this one and the blue one. And that's because there we go already. These I used half double crochet. And this one I used single crochet. And that's how I make all of my washcloths. This one will be smaller. I do 40 rows up, 40 stitches across, and gave it a cute little border. And here I do 35 rows and 40 stitches across still, and put my little border around them. I'm really liking the border thing. I really am, as opposed to these where I had no border. They still function well. Don't get me wrong. They still function very well. Yes. So the washcloths are what I focused on and what I've done. Um, I do have a little bitty ball left to add to the forever robe that I'm making. I did start something new. Yes, I did. And I don't know where I put it. Oh, isn't that sad? That is so, so, so sad. And the reason it's sad is because what I want to tell you all about today is that I am collabing with another crochet artist. I hope that you all have seen the video. I know Lori has seen it because she's joining us, but Line Stitches and I are collabing to make a cardigan. And there are 4 rules for the cardigan. It's not due to be finished until December 1st. So you have, 64 days now? You got plenty of time. What you do 63 days to December 1st, 64 days to my birthday. That's why we chose around that time. But it has to be done in panels. It has to have ribbing. I don't remember the other part. It's 4 rules. It's just 4 rules. Only 4 rules. Finish by December 1st and submit your pictures. Any color, any stitch, any pattern, but it has to be done in panels and it has to have ribbing. It's called the Just For Me sweater. And I am actually doing mine in 5 panels. I'm doing 5 panels of different colors. Y'all know I really don't like losing stuff because I have done a whole 2 panels. I have. And I'm doing it all in half double crochet. So I'm going to do the 2 front panels. I'm doing 3 panels across the back, connecting them, and then I'm doing the arms and of course the ribbing across the bottom. Yeah, and I don't know what I did. Hmm. Okay, we always talk about giving ourselves grace. I'm really going to give myself grace today because I woke up this morning at 5:08 a.m. I did, and I woke up to my head swimming, not a headache, but an extreme case of vertigo. And it's been a struggle ever since. But I press on. I have to. I had my therapy session this morning and it went great. I was late for it because I had kind of forgotten about it. I don't know how to forget that. It's every 2 weeks, unless it's an emergency. at 10 o'clock on Tuesday, just like clockwork. That's just like I know this week I had my therapy session. So next week I have my doctor's appointment. That's how I remember it, but I forgot it. I forgot. But I made it in time enough that we still had a full session. I am still looking for that I'm still looking for it, y'all. Yeah. I know I got teal and orange done. And I'm going to be adding yellow, purple, green, red, and blue. Yes, it's going to have 7 colors because we have the 2 front panels, 3 in the back, and the sleeves. So it's going to be colorful, but it is called the Just For Me cardigan. If you want to join us, please, by all means, just let us know. We welcome you. The only thing we ask is that by midnight, Eastern Standard Time or Eastern Daylight Time, whichever one, um, on December 1st, please submit your pictures to me uh, via email or on my Facebook page or even Instagram. I rarely go to Instagram, so you're safer doing Facebook or even here in the community posts. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. I've not worked on the 10 of diamonds. I've not worked on the green corner to corner or the white corner to corner. I've not worked on my purple sweater. I did start the Just For Me sweater. I've, and I have not worked anymore on my Dallas Cowboy blanket. But I have still been busy, guys. I have. Um, let's get to the health and weight real quick. I'm going to have to give you my weight per doctor's office for a little while until I either get another scale or get my scale fixed because it is still not giving us the proper weight. And I don't want to give you, Sam, how are you? Yeah, I don't want to give you misinformation. So I'll be telling you about that when I get the proper weight. Other than that, as far as health is concerned, whatever this is that's going on with me right now, I'm pretty sure I'll get over it. It may have to do with the weather. It's an overcast day, but I'm not worried about it. I don't like how it feels, but I'm not worried about it. So I don't want you all to worry either. Understood? Thank you. Okay. So I told you about the collaboration. Now, I want you to see how busy I've been. You know that I have been working on the um, twister hood of the traveling blanket. Yes, I have definitely been working on that. But you know that I have future plans. And I always tell you that I have to draw out my plans because I have to see what I want it to look like. And you know, one of the things I want to do is the Frappuccino blanket. So, of course, I drew my little quick rough draft. And then I had to draw it a little more detailed here. This is like the very, very beginning process for me. This is just to get an idea and visualize or conceptualize what I want. And I kind of stick my colors in there and everything. The next thing I do is pull out my graph paper. Where's my graph book? I don't know, because I will actually make graph paper if I want to. I have it downloaded. Um, I used Excel and made me graph sheets so I can print one out if I can't find my graph book. And I have to literally go back and draw and color this in block by block because it is going to be tapestry style. So that's all the intricate stuff I will be doing. I will be making the Frappuccino in the light brown. The background is going to be dark brown. I'm going to have the gray to outline my cup. I'm going to have a straw in it, of course, because it is a frozen treat. The little topping of whipped cream, I didn't want it to come over the top. I wanted it to show as if it had been already somewhat consumed. And then I have my orange peels over here just to have a little fruit with it. So, and of course, I put my colors that I want it to be. So when I'm drawing it in, I can go ahead and fill in the colors as well. That's not the only thing that I had to draw up now. Even though these only made it to the pre rough draft, because now I got the pre rough draft and the pre rough draft. I still got two more to go. One more before it hits the graph, but it's still got some more to go for the Frappuccino. These little babies right here on this page, these are my house purses. So y'all, I let my daughter, I originally I told you I wanted 5 of them. I let my daughter talk me down last week to 4. She has talked me down to 3. I'm not going any lower than 3. We are not going any lower than 3. Mama had to put her foot down because she wants me to just do one. Not an option. So what I'm figuring is this is the one for my scooter. Of course, it has to have more in it. I've got room for my yarn and my yarn pouch. Or I have that section called the yarn pouch. Um, so what I decided to do was, instead of making one for the scooter and making a scooter bag, just make my scooter bag my house purse my scooter purse. And it's going to have an area for my yarn and my yarn notion pouch. I have a little trash can on mine, a real trash can that has wheels and a lid. And when my kids take it and dump it in the bigger trash can, they roll it on everything it can roll on. And they beep, 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 like the truck. So they empty it. A little fun thing from them. Got it. It was gifted to me, but the person told me that they got it from Dollar Tree. I don't know if they still have them. I don't know how much they would be now, being that nothing is $1 in there anymore. But it is something that you can look into. And I would also check out places like Ross, um, TJ Maxx. Um, I don't know about Dollar General so much. Maybe Rose's. Dollar General is kind of selective with things they carry, and that probably wouldn't be one of them. Nah. And then behind my trash can, I would have a slot for, I have to do it this way for you all. My trash can would be here, and right behind it would be a slot for my notebook or my notepad. And then up front here is my little yarn pouch. And then I'd have 2 sections behind that. One for paperwork that I get from the doctor's office or whatever, receipts that I get from the store. And then right in front of that would be a 3-part container. It would be a space for my phone, my sunshades, and my wallet. So that particular area would be closed. You'd have to open to get into that space, mainly because the wallet is in there. And I don't want people to feel like they can just stick their hand in my bag and have at what they want. Now over to trying to see for you. This side over here it's going to be like 4 compartments. One is going to be to cover the width of the pouch and everything. And what do I have in there? That's where I have my little notion pouch to be. So it'll be separated from the yarn and won't get it all tangled up. And then the 3 little areas over here, 2 of them would be for water. I drink a lot of water. And one would be for change. I'd probably put the change in the middle one. I don't know. Also in the change compartment would be gloves. I kind of use that to minimize the noise of the change bouncing up and down. I also use gloves when I go over to the trash compactor because I don't like touching it. It's nasty. I take a glove and put it on and open and close the door. And I take it off and put it in my little trash can. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And of course, in all of this that I have, there will be room for my hand sanitizer, my little hand moisturizer, all that good stuff. It's going to have room for that. Now, this one up here is the one that would basically be for my room and for me traveling around the house or when I decide I want to go back and sit on the porch. That one is going to have four individual spaces for, um, it's going to have collapsible dividers. Got to figure out how to do it. I know it can be done and I'm going to do it. But I'm thinking using the plastic keychains to latch it around. And that'll help me to have four separate skeins of yarn because I do a lot of tapestry crocheting. That would be ideal. I'd also have, it would be 8 strong plus another area because I'd have to have space for my water bottles. I have to keep those closed. And then another area for um, my hand moisturizer and hand sanitizer. Um, and then, of course, I would always need a place to keep my phone. But that would be basically for in home so that I don't have to keep carrying these things in my arm or using plastic bags. Yes. And the last one would be for my cleaning supplies. Right now, I only see where I would need 8 compartments and one little small compartment on the side for my phone. But yeah, I got my wipes, my um, disinfectant spray, air freshener, glass cleaner. What else did I put up there? Oh yeah, the cleaner rags, the paper towels, and of course I could stuff the gloves in with the cleaner rags. Yeah, and I don't know. It may be more compartments because I want an area to put trash bags. I usually, when I get mad and go through my room, y'all, if y'all had seen my room when we first moved in here and you saw the stuff, mind you, we came from a 3-bedroom house. And because of the space that we had in here, we really did not have to downsize that much. We really didn't. But now compared to then, there is a huge difference because when I get upset with myself and I go through on that I'm throwing this away binge, I can fill up a trash bag real quick. And it's not necessarily trash. It's lots of times it's memorabilia. It's stuff that I think about how my mother used to always tell me, I want you all to go through and decide what you want now that I'm still living, because all the rest of this stuff, I'm throwing it away. And we'd be like, no, you need to keep this. No, you need to keep that. And she's like, the longer I hold on to it now, the more mess you'll have when I'm gone. And the older we get and the more we start thinking about, our legacy, we don't want our legacy to our young ones to be a bunch of stuff. I mean, and in all honesty, a lot of our memories are not their memories. It's like I have my mother's teeth because I want to, but my grandkids, they're not going to want that. In all honesty, they're not going to want it. And my daughter, maybe because my daughter and my mother were both my daughters and my mother were very close, so maybe they one could get a top plate and one could get the bottom plate. I don't know. But as for my grandkids, I know that's not something they're interested in, and there are a few other things that I have that were, things that or memories that my mom and I made that I know don't mean a hill of beans to my kids. And even though we talk about it, we have story time with each other, family story time and all with each other. It's still not, yeah, I'm getting ready to start something, y'all. I just feel like I need to be crocheting. This is what I do. This is what I do. This is what I do. Yes. So, okay, I'm reading. Is giving up asking my kids to help me straighten out my mess. Now I just say, Sam, you're a mess. You are a whole mess. Yes, you are. My daughter knows my yarn is set to go to two people who I know will do. Yes. There are things that, sometimes we don't want to have those discussions with our family members, but I think, oh my God, I thank God for my mom, because as much as, my mom groomed us for years. My mom started grooming us when she was in her late 40s. And she would always say to me, I want you to do this. I want you to do that. This is how I want this done, that done. This goes here. This goes there. Yada yada yada. And when my grandmother passed, I was 21, and I saw why it was so important for that discussion to happen. Because there were things of my grandmother's that I was supposed to have that I didn't get. And there were some things I got that weren't supposed to be for me, but I couldn't articulate this to my aunt and my mother because, of course, even though I was 21, I was still a child to them and they weren't hearing me. My grandmother and I had discussed the fact of me living in the house. We had already talked to the landlord. Y'all, we had a 3-bedroom house, huge 3-bedroom house. And when I tell you these rooms were huge, as much as I talk about the space in this apartment, this is a drop in the bucket. Our front bedroom had a full size bed, nightstand, a twin size bed, full dresser, full chest of drawer, a little heater. This was old. We had the little heaters, and a closet. Okay. Our second bedroom held, here again, full size bed, twin size bed, and a queen size sleeper sofa. I kid you not. Along with the heater, chest of drawer, and dresser. In our foyer, the front hallway, we had a desk and 2 chairs. Yes, like a school desk with the 3 drawers on the side and the one long drawer in the middle. It wasn't a secretary desk because it didn't have the thing to go over, but it was like a school, a come home from school and do your homework desk, because that's what I used it for years. But yeah, and in the middle hallway, we had a china cabinet, a stereo system, a bookshelf, and I forgot what was behind the door except that annoying doorbell. Oh God, the doorbell chime was behind the door. Ding dong. The choir, boom boom, the long metal tubes. Yes. And my bedroom was the second bedroom. So that was right outside my bedroom door. Oh my goodness. The back part of the hallway, we called it the den because it was so big. We had a love seat and a rocker recliner. We had, well, my grandfather's box. We used it to hold the TV because we were all gamers. We were Atari gamers. And there was the big heater that sat back there. We had heaters in all the rooms except the third bedroom. But the heater in the den sufficed the back bedroom. My grandmother didn't really have things that she hung up. We had 2 closets in the middle bedroom. There was not a closet in the back bedroom, but that was where my grandmother wanted to be because it was closest to the bathroom. All that space, one bathroom. But she needed to be closest to the bathroom and the kitchen because she was the cook. Okay? I'm telling you. So maybe if I do that, I don't know. I was trying to get the comments to show up, but that was the smallest room in the house, and even still, she had a queen size bed, chest of drawer, armoire. I would say not a nightstand, but a night rack, you know, and a recliner. So the rooms were huge. And my grandmother, we had a formal dining room and we had a living room. We had a complete across the front porch, driveway, detached garage, all of that, $100 a month. $100 a month for rent. Yes, this was back in the mid 80s. One y'all, at one point I broke after I had my daughter, I broke out and got my own place. It was a one bedroom, living room, kitchen, bathroom type deal. And my my rent was 125. I only signed a 3 month lease and I kept it for 3 months. It was just a test and trial type thing. And I realized after 3 months, I only spent 2 nights in the place. So it really wasn't worth me having it. But I think for the experience, 375 wasn't bad, you know, because it kind of prepped me a little bit for living on my own and having those responsibilities, knowing which bills to pay and things. I was 19 when I got that place. So yeah, yeah. But yeah, and because that conversation was not had with my aunt and my mother, I didn't get the place for $100 a month. I didn't. And being that I had spent so many years in that house, it was like giving up, giving up home. I was accustomed to the laundry room right outside the back door and walking around the line. My grandmother and I had a worm farm. With our family, we're avid fishers or fisher people or fishermen, if you want to say, but we love to fish. So instead of having to go buy bait all the time, we raised worms, just regular earthworms. We had an old refrigerator. We gutted it, we cleaned it, we filled it with soil and meal. And we kept the worms watered, we kept them fed, everything that we needed to do, and kind of had our own little store because everybody in our circle who fished with us always, because the bait was only $1 a cup. And at most places we went to get bait, it was 12, you get 12 worms in a cup. So we were giving everybody 18, at $4. And most people would get like 2 and 3 cups. Sorry for that. I can't block the calls for some reason, and I'm still getting a load of spam calls, but I do apologize for that. Y'all are good for me because I do feel better. I felt better when I talked to my therapist this morning. But as far as the conversations are concerned, I find my mom had conversations with us. And when she passed, I'm not going to say that everything is going to be perfect, but because on our end, some things happened that should not have happened, but it wasn't like some, big family brawls that you see or hear about. It was nothing like that. Um, it was not necessarily little things, but it was things that basically, I'm my mother's only child. I did not get to make the decision of where things went, which I could be salty about it. And I'm not necessarily salty about it. I'm disappointed in the person that took over, um, because they didn't have that right. And they don't see, to this day, they don't see the error in their ways. Um, I'm not even angry with her, but I am disappointed that, when you reach a certain age, a certain level of maturity is expected for you. And she will still throw temper tantrums being over the age of 40, which and like I said, some decisions that she makes are like teenage decisions. It's not well thought out. And you never want to see your child fail. You don't. So she puts me between a rock and a hard place because I know that lessons have to be learned. So it's like, me telling you of when my son jumped off the roof, you got to be mama and daddy at the same time. So it's kind of the same situation here. I have to be mother and teacher at the same time. I have to step back a little bit and let her find out, but at the same time, be there in case it collapses and she needs me to go to. So I've had to play that dual role way too often in my life. So I have these discussions with my kids. My daughter knows that this ring goes to my son, my grandson. I'm sorry. This ring goes to my grandson. This ring goes to my granddaughter. Being that my youngest daughter is the only one who has picked up crocheting and gone on with it, the yarn is left to her. All of my crochet is left to her to do with as she pleases. Now, the kids from time to time, meaning the grandkids, will express interest in crocheting, but right now they're a little scatterbrained. It's like they're interested today, tomorrow they don't know where it is. So if she wants to take that patience and have it there for them, that's fine. And there's certain other things, around that I've already told her, hey, this goes here. Don't let anybody take this from you. There are things that I have that are just for my daughter. There are things that I have that are for my other daughter, things that I have that are for my son. And that's where I intend for them to go. I have put it in writing. My doctor has a copy. My doctor will also serve as the person, the what do you call them? They're kind of like a school mom, uh, with the stick in hand. Hey, getting everybody straight. No, So yes, I think those are very, very, very important. Those conversations are very, very, very important. And it's funny. That's not even what the topic of discussion was for today. I do want to give a few shout outs before we get out of here. And these are not people I've given shout outs to before. These are all new, and it's only 6 of them. I did not have time to go put the information in the description box here, but I will, however, put them in my community post. So they will be there. And one is Linda Saxady, I believe that's how you say it. She's Norwegian and she teaches in Spain. She crochets and knits. And I absolutely love watching her channel. The she sings. I call her the singing crocheter. She sings. So I not only find myself sitting and crocheting with her, I find myself sitting and singing with her as well. And then you have Kashana Renee. Um, and looking at her channel, she does, it's not called useful crochet, but it's like baskets and trays and like this being a wall hanging that I can hang. She is a lot of fun. but this being a wall hanging that I can hang my stitch, useful crochet, things that you can actually use your crochet for. Like these started out being birds, down to me putting the eyes on them. And I happened to stick a needle in one day, and I was like, oh, that's perfect. Needless to say, the grandkids didn't get the birds. They didn't get the birds. But my needles have a place to go. And they don't care. They get so much from grandma, it doesn't even faze them. And then we have Crochet Home. Um, Crochet Home. The videos that I've seen have no words, but there are a lot of stitch tutorials, patterns, in case you want something new and different. Um, I get a lot of inspiration there because I create a lot of stitches. I was telling my therapist this morning, I said, I think the reason I'm experiencing vertigo is because over the past week, I have created 3 stitches, and the work that goes into doing that is not easy. It's not like I'm going to sit down and I'm going to do this whip, 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 whip. No, if you want to incorporate it in something, you have to get your count right. You have to make sure, because not every stitch or not every component is going to match up with the stitches leading into it. So you got, like, one I have is kind of tall. 2 of them actually are kind of tall. One of them I can do in 2 heights. The other one I can only do it in 1 height. So I have to make sure the stitches leading into it are the proper height to facilitate that element. And, when you're sitting and you're figuring this out, how do you do double crochet on top of double crochet and make it fit so that if your whole row is double crochet, then how are you going to come back to facilitate this with the next row if you're going to add a next row? It's just a lot that goes into it. So once you really put your mind into it and figure that out, when you're decompressing, I guess it is a little much, excuse me, like being on a boat going up and down. The next person is Mel's Yarniverse. Um, Not a lot to say there. I only watched one video. It's not one that I typically go to, but I thought from that video that she was worth giving a glimpse. Go check it out. And then we go into those 2 channels that I picked that were not crochet or crafting related. But both of them require an artsy persona and patience. One is the Gifted Event official. I think his name is Vernon Jackson. And what he does is provide haircuts for, there was a way he put it that didn't sound harsh, but I'll say for children with special needs. A lot of his clients are autistic or have ADHD. And yes, she does do a lot of thrift shopping, but I caught one that wasn't a thrift shopping one. And I really, really, I looked at, I glimpsed at her thumbnails and went to check out how long she had been in Tuberverse. But yeah, I didn't really go into like I usually do. But I've seen Vernon Jackson before on the shorts on my phone, and I never bothered to follow him. And for some reason, he popped up on my TV this morning, and I was like, wow. And I took the time to really look at some of his videos, and the amount of patience you have to have. First of all, if you know anything about doing hair, you have to have patience. I don't care if your client doesn't have special needs. Every client that sits in your chair, and I'm speaking from both sides, is problematic. I'm from the client perspective, and I from the cosmetologist perspective. Every client is problematic because they, whether they admit it or not, they come with a certain view, a certain feel, a certain desire. I used to hate it when they would come with magazines and they'd say, I want my hair to look like this. And you can't tell a person, your hair can't do this, and because they wanted it. And it's like, okay, we can make it happen, but it's not going to last, number one, and it's going to eat your hair up, number two. They don't want to hear that. They want you to glamorify them, and they want it to look like that picture. So, like I said, every client is problematic, but when you're dealing with a child with special needs, chances are they don't want to be there. Plain and simple. They don't want to be there. They don't want to hear that clipper. They don't want to hear the trimmers. They don't want to hear the of the scissors. They feel like they're choking when you put that cape around them. They don't want to be there. But this man takes the time to talk to these kids. He brings himself down to their level. I mean, guys, he's been doing this for like 20 plus years. And to see how these kids bond with him and open up to him, and they relax long enough to get a haircut, and the beauty in it, the way you can see that child's face light up, and the happiness that they have after going through that process of getting that haircut. It's amazing to watch. So if you want to see some feel good stories, go check him out. Go check him out. I think he posts like maybe once or twice a month or something like that. It's not very, very often. Now, here's another one that posts kind of regularly. It's called Divas and Dementia. She brings you, it's a daughter and her mother is suffering from dementia, but she doesn't bring you the sad side of it. She's very honest and straightforward, but she see her mom taking these, her daughter calls them trips, because she'll open her room door and go on a walk in a heartbeat, and once she has her little boyfriend, she doesn't know him. She has no idea who this man is, but he is her boyfriend. But she also has the moments where her mother doesn't know her name. And, it's like she was prepared for this. I don't know if she was previously in the medical field or what, but the way she handles it, it just makes you feel like if you were in that situation, or if you happen to be in that situation, it just gives you another take on how to handle it. All of her videos are very short. I think the longest one I saw was like 7 minutes. And it's just a series of them. So you don't get locked in, drawn in. It's just something that you can sit and look at, maybe 3 or 4 of them, and just be like, that was cute, or I get it now, or, whatever. So those are the 6 that I had for you today. Now, I had a whole separate message for you. And it's really wonderful because I didn't have time to look it up or research it like I wanted to, but I thought it was really, really important to say what I wanted to say about it. In the description box, I wrote play, pause, play. What I wrote down in my notes is piddle, but stay present. If you remember back in the day, when we used to make mixtapes our way, you sit by the radio and you wait for your favorite song to come on. You had to wait for the DJ to stop talking and you push record, and you had to sit there and wait for the song to be over. Maybe you could walk away for a second, but you had to come right back and make sure you hit pause or stop just in time for the song when the song went off, because it would either go into another song or go into a commercial or the DJ is just having fun. You didn't want all of that. You just wanted that song. But when you went back to learn the words of that song, you push play and you'd listen, and then you pause it and you write it down and you push play and you go through that same process over and over and over again until you got the words of what you thought were the words to that song. So the next day when you went to school, you could sing that song with everybody else. It's the same way with our crafting. When you are trying to get your items done and you feel overwhelmed and you feel pressured, push pause. Give yourself a break. Then come back and push play and get back to it. Anytime you feel foggy, anytime you feel like I just can't do this, it's too hard, I don't understand, especially with patterns, especially with tutorials. There, 9 times out of 10, there's a need to walk away. Just press pause. Don't push stop. Don't give up. Don't give up. Just press pause. Take a break. Lots of times when you walk away and you come back, you can see things in a whole new perspective. So just push pause and then push play and keep moving forward. And when it's done, you can push stop on that one and wait for the next one to come along. I told you, my mom always raised me to believe that you're never satisfied, because once you become satisfied, you don't have anything else to strive for. That's why I always have future projects. Future projects. I still have those that I had on my list from last year, the 5 beach blankets that I wanted to do. I finally found the picture of the lips that I wanted to go on one of those blankets. I haven't given up on it. It's just on pause for right now. It's just on pause for right now. Everything that I have on a future project list, unless there are things that I said that I am not going to tackle or not going to do, it's not to my benefit. It'll end up hurting me more than helping me. Other than those things, and sometimes that's the reason you have to push pause, because you have to evaluate the situation and make sure that it is okay for you. If it's going to hurt you in any way, like my aunt used to tell me, anything that hurts you is not your friend. I am 61 years old. She told me that when I was 9. Okay. Yes, I have carried that around for 52 years. And I live by that. Anything that hurts you is not your friend. So when you're doing this project, when you're walking this path in life, when you encounter this person, if it hurts, if it's to the point that it is hurting you, it is draining you, it is not to your benefit. And I don't mean to your benefit alone. Sometimes it can be stressful, but it's for the benefit of your family. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about those people who do cross stitch and they always poking a hole in their finger and they're anemic. Or they're like my mama, have TCP. It's hurting you. It's not your friend. That's not meant for you to do. Maybe try latch hook. Maybe try crochet. We're not going to do the pointy things. So keep that in mind as we move forward into our crafting ventures. Y'all, we took it. We did it. We did it. We are 54 minutes in. So I'm about to bring this to a close. I do apologize again for being late, but when nature calls, you gotta go. But I love you guys, each and every one of you. Please don't forget to hit those thummies and share the video. Share the video. Share the name. All that good stuff. Don't forget to be bold, be brave, be beautiful, and behave. Remember, Kitty Lane told you. Remember, Kitty Lane loves you. So until we see each other again on these YouTube streets, peace out, everybody.